I'm Hunter.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Caitlin. I'm Nessa.
This is the Family Showdown.
Ooh, hey, we're here, finally. In a series of interesting events. First, we were watching Dice Tower Summer Shenanigans Sensation, whatever it was called. It was funny. It was fun. Game show asking. Good times. And then things started to break. So we're going to see. If we disappear, we're not coming back because the port on our video camera is currently jury-rigged, jammed, kind of patched together with some gum and baling wire at this point. We'll see if it works. We may be having to get a new camera soon.
Yeah, the power.
The port is broken, so
The power cord just falls out.
yeah. And it's eating batteries, so it does not run batteries.
So it may be time to buy a new camera. Yeah.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
Is there a silver lining?
Oh man, we were so distracted by things I didn't even prepare properly for our show tonight.
Oh my gosh.
You guys already saw my terrible isolation hair. This is much better.
We all have isolation hair. That's just the way it works.
Yeah, but someday in the future, watch this video, and I'd rather you saw this.
All right, tonight.
Top 10 tonight. We actually do.
Tonight, our top 10. We're presenting our top 10 mechanisms. This is a repeato list from...
Way back in the day.
I don't know. I didn't look up the date.
Way back
At least
in the old way back time.
2 or 3 years ago, at
The
least.
whippersnappers.
And I found this list was actually really hard for me to put together. I thought I'd be like, blah, 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 done.
Really?
Look at all the scratch outs and marks and notes and rewrites. And yeah, it was difficult for me to put this list together.
I didn't have that problem. I don't know. I went to... I'm assuming you did the same thing, but to build this, I used the mechanisms thingy on Board Game Geek.
For the most part, I strayed from that some.
You strayed.
Yeah, I really thought about it. I really looked at my...
I went off of it.
Here's how I made my list.
How'd you make your list?
How my list ended up being, I guess, because I tried 4 or 5 different ways.
Okay.
I looked at all my favorite games.
Yes.
And I thought, why do I like those games so much?
Ooh. Okay.
And so I thought, okay, what part of this game makes me really like it, right?
Yep.
And is there a consistency among my top games of that same mechanism? That's kind of how it fell out.
Right.
So.
Okay, well that's good. I did a completely different approach. That's an interesting approach, and I like that. What I did instead is I went at it like piecemeal, scientific, like breaking it apart with the tweezers, and was like, looked at the list of mechanisms. And I'm like, what do I enjoy? And then I was thinking about the games that I enjoy with those. And I'm like, is that what brought me to enjoy that game? I did a deconstructed version of what you did, I guess.
Yeah. But what I've discovered is that the mechanisms they list on Board Game Geek for games is not remotely correct for 99% of the games.
I thought it was wonky, but since you and I had not discussed it, I just went off of Board Game Geek.
Because I would pull a mechanism, I'm like, I really like that game for that mechanism, and then I'd look it up.
And it's not on there.
It's not even listed.
Okay. I thought I was losing my mind too. Okay, good. I feel better now about this, because sometimes the representative games that I picked, I was like, this isn't the best.
And what's funny is in the somewhat distant past, I used to occasionally go and suggest changes. But every time I put a mechanism that was wrong or one that needs to be added or one that's wrong for a game, they go rejected.
Really? Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I know that mechanism is in the game or not in the game. I don't know why.
I wouldn't. Yeah, that's bizarre.
Anyway, and here we go. So the question I'm asking out there, is it mechanism or mechanics?
A mechanic fixes cars. A mechanism is a thing.
I'm pointing to the camera. I'm not pointing to you.
I'm just saying.
I know what your opinion is.
I'm sure everyone does.
I'm indifferent.
Are you?
Yes.
Look at him being indifferent. This apathy is just...
So let's get it started off with my
insane.
number 10. Let's see what
everyone made a prediction?
Cooperative?
Yes, for your number 1.
Cooperative would be towards the bottom. Right down there with Roll and Move and...
Spinners?
And Spinners.
Tommy thought that would be your number 1.
And Pop-O-Matic.
Pop-O-Matic should be number 1, dude. That's the bomb.
My number 10 is what the heck? There we go.
Ooh.
Auction/bidding.
Oh, you put action.
I put action. Oh my gosh.
Fire your
I'm
IT
old
guy.
and tired. Should be auction. Action bidding. I like action bidding.
It is a lot of action with you. You're
About-
like bouncing off the walls.
About this instead. That work better?
Yes, that's much better.
All right, auction bidding. So, I find that a lot of games, and what we decided to do is kind of put a game that represents the mechanism that we're showing. So a lot of the games I have auction and bidding, but it's just a piece of the game. So probably my favorite game now, spoilers, my favorite game now that has auction bidding is probably 18 Chesapeake.
What?
But that's just the start of the game. So in 18XX games, you do a bidding round at the start. So I thought, okay, that's not really... It needs to be a game that has that throughout. You know?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
So the games that popped in mind for me were like Power Grid and Coliseum, but probably my favorite one these days is Raccoon Tycoon.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
So every time you go and auction up... every time someone wants to go purchase a railroad, it actually creates an auction that everyone's involved in. So every time a railroad goes to be purchased, there's a big auction that happens. And actually, it could end up being a series of auctions because eventually the person that initiated the auction gets a card. So if they don't win, another auction happens. If they don't win, another auction happens, and then over and over and over again.
Yep.
Until they win something. So that's my
That's good.
auction
I like that one.
/ bidding.
I like new trolls. I started with my list as AP for number 10, but I'm still thinking about what should be next.
What's that?
For his favorite mechanism, AP.
AP is that a mechanism or is that a? I guess it's kind of a. Some games lend themselves to it, so it could be in the mechanism.
I think they should put that as a thing on here.
Right.
Yeah.
I already forgot all our controls here.
That's funny.
I'm old.
Oh no, we're about to have technical difficulties. Enjoy the fireworks.
No, you ready?
You got it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm ready. So my number 10 is card drafting as a mechanism. And one of those great games that represents that would be Sushi Go. So card drafting, you get a bunch of cards, you pick one, and you pass them on. So you're choosing, A, what's going to be the best for you, and B, what's not going to help someone else. So the thing called hate drafting comes into play here as well, depending on the game, and what and who your opponents might be, who are getting your cards next, right? I love card drafting. I love the choices and the decision making in that. And I think, like Blood Rage is another really good game that has that card drafting. I think, oh man, the choices in these games, especially something like Blood Rage, because you're kind of building up your battle team and what you're going to have in it and how they're going to attack and this and that. And sometimes you get a hand and it's just like all good cards. And you're about to hand it to the next person that you're going to be fighting, and you're like, I can't let them have this card. But there's something that's really good for me. So what do I pick? Which one do I pick? And those decisions are what's driving that. And I really love the card drafting. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's much better than, here's your 8 cards, deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it lets you build a strategy, it lets you...
And there's a little bit of memory, too, because some games, like Sushi Go Party, you're going to see that hand of cards again.
Right.
So you want to try, especially if you're going for, like, the desserts. Because I think you keep those the whole time, and how many you get total is going to help you, determine how many victory points you get and stuff, right? So you got to remember, I've seen some traveling. You're going to try to keep track of how many people have versus you and whatnot. And so I like that. It's fun.
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
there you go.
I'll allow it because my number 9
drafting. Is that card drafting for
is
you?
drafting.
Oh, drafting
I just
in
said
general.
drafting because I love dice drafting. I love drafting actions. It's the whole thing. It's basically you have a pool of something, and you're choosing among that pool, and then the next person chooses from whatever's left over.
Okay.
So that's kind of generic, just drafting, and that includes card drafting. But probably my favorite is dice drafting. I love dice drafting games. So I put card drafting as my thing because that's probably my favorite game that has drafting is Terraforming Mars. But I like Coimbra has dice drafting.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Terraforming Mars.
There's
Yeah.
several games
Yeah,
that
like you
have.
said, that's-
They're all flying out of my head that
Yep.
has different drafting games. So I mean, like I said, even like
Seven Wonders
a lot
Duel.
of games at the start of the game, you'll have player powers, and you'll get a set of.
You have to
certain
choose,
And you
right?
pick one, and you pass it to the next
Yeah,
person or
I like
whatever,
those.
right? So
I like those.
a lot of games have an aspect of it being drafting, but Terraform Mars is if you play with the drafting, not if you play with the drafting. I don't know if it's a variant or that's the way you're supposed to play. Either
Right.
way, you're drafting like every round. You're doing
Yep.
more and more drafting, and
It's crazy.
she mentioned Blood Rage. That's another good one that has drafting. So.
Yep. Yeah, it was on my list.
So I made mine. You'll see throughout my list, I made. In some places I went really general, like this. Other places I went extremely specific.
You know what I did too, because and you'll see why. Like this one's specific because certain aspects felt different to me enough, and they were differentiated in BGG, so I felt that was justified enough then because it felt different to me. So yeah, as we go to those, I'll explain it. Ooh, Nathan, variable victory conditions. Yeah,
That's a good one.
I like that one too.
But
I
is
like
there a lot of games that have that? I really do like that.
not
Hellas
a lot.
does, but
Yeah, Hellas. Hellas is the one I could think of that
Lords
has
of Hellas.
Lords of Hellas is great. He who said Horrified does, which is also another bonus for
Rajas
that.
of the Ganges.
Rajas of the Ganges.
No,
It's
that's not variable.
Rajas.
That's not variable. There's only one way to win.
Yeah, there's only.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
There's a few.
War of the Ring has it
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good one.
for the bad guys.
Is it
Anyway,
my
and
number
the good
9,
guys.
right?
Yep.
My number 9 is very narrow. I laughed when I laughed when I saw it. It was a mechanism, and I'm like, gosh darn it, I love this mechanism.
Even though we only have one game that has
We
it.
only have one game that has it, and I love it. And I would play other games that have it.
We got to find what is it, Wallenstein or what Wallenstein?
Oh yeah, okay, and that is Cube Tower. Okay, some people hate these things. I love this thing. It was great in Amerigo. It determines how the heck you're gonna play that whole turn. I mean, it could go any direction. You could get none of the colors that are supposed to hit for that round. You could drop in 5 green cubes and 1 red one comes out, and you're like,
Right.
how do I work with that? Or 20 cubes come out. You don't know. I love it. It's so much fun. And normally, yeah, that kind of chaos I don't like in a game, but this game has so many different ways to manipulate what you get and how you can go about it that I like the puzzly aspect of it. How do you recover from it? Or what do you do with it? What's your backup plan? I don't know. I really like it.
Tommy's talking just made me think of a new one that I like.
Oh, yeah?
I might add it as an honorable mention.
Ooh, honorable mentions. I have a bunch of stuff like that, too.
Oh man, I'm thinking of more.
Drinking a mechanism.
All that just triggered a bunch of the ones I forgot to put. I'll mention them at the end.
Depends
I don't
on
know if
the
that would
game,
have made my
I
top
suppose.
10, but it's a couple I thought of.
That's funny.
Anything else you got to say about Cube Towers?
They're awesome. You should play with them. I think more games should have something gimmicky and cool like that.
Should it?
Yeah. I don't know why. I just think that's cool. I think it's fun. I love it.
All right, my next one is, and this one's actually a controversial name because there's actually arguments about whether this name is the right name for it.
Ooh, okay.
And that is deterministic combat.
Okay.
Non-random combat. So a lot of basically it's combat that's just not rolling dice basically. So if you,
Oh, yeah, okay.
it's like we have
That's
like for example in Dominant Species, it's just a simple who has the most cubes wins type thing.
What?
There's some games where you count up the power of your troops and whoever has the most power troops wins. And that's it. Some games it's that plus you play a card. It's not just a random roll of dice to decide, but some people argue deterministic combat can have no randomness at all, so you can't have cards because those cards were randomly given to you, or they somehow randomly got to you at some point.
Yeah.
Some people believe deterministic combat is a simple math. I have 8, you have 7, I win, and there's nothing else that's involved. But I like the card. When I say deterministic combat, I mean like in Blood Rage. You count up your power of your guys, and then you play. You have a card or a power that you play that determines the combat. It's not like you have 6, I have 7. We roll a die, we add that total, and that number wins or whatever, right?
Yeah, I don't see an issue with that. I don't understand.
But people say deterministic combat can't have any randomness whatsoever in it.
Oh, okay. I could see both sides of that then. Okay.
But I love it. I like that type of combat because it's kind of. It's interesting sometimes for you to roll and you go, oh wow, there's that one chance. Like when you play Risk and the defender keeps rolling sixes and they keep winning.
Mm.
It's that's always interesting, but it's also like I had 20 guys and you had 2. I should win this fight, right?
Right.
I actually like both, but I do enjoy having that card, and wham, I got like a +5, and you didn't know I had that card, and I win the fight. I like that. So really, it's more like card driven combat. Maybe that's
even
better.
like Western Legends has it, right?
Yes,
and I love that. No wonder you love it.
It's like I got boom, like you think you're gonna win, but no, I have cancel the combat, and 2 of your guys die, and restart the combat kind of thing. So they also have that in. Fleet Captains. I should have thought about Fleet Captains.
Fleet Captains, yeah.
So Fleet Captains is the same way. You have a combat, and you play cards. You can play a card that influences the combat.
So there's one question I saw. Troll asked, "Would you say cube towers would be considered like bag building?" And I would say no, because bag building, you're going to pull 3 whatever, or you're going to pull a certain number. Cube is completely random.
Yeah,
it's like rolling a die.
It's basically a random selection of all the cubes that are in the tower.
Yeah, it's
slightly from my experience playing Amerigo, it's weighted on basically on what you throw in, because what you throw in probably has the highest probability of falling out the bottom. So if you throw 5 greens in, the greens have a highest probability of coming out, but it is random. They could all just land just perfectly and knock other things off, right? So it's kind of like a mostly random selection of everything that's in the tower.
Mm-hmm. So you haven't played any of the Command and Colors games, have you?
No, I want to play.
Yeah,
one.
that's a to be played on the checklist.
I want to play one.
And Hunter does not like Cosmic Encounter because he can share a victory.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Cosmic Encounter. I think in a bubble I would really enjoy this game. I would love this game.
Yeah.
But and Rebecca can support me on this, or she could say I'm crazy.
Well, you are crazy.
People intentionally cause me not to win that game.
Well, yeah.
They will not team up with me. They will not negotiate with me. They will not do anything that helps me. So I have 0 chance of ever winning that game unless I got in with like 5. You take 5 random people off the streets and set them down at the table. I would love Cosmic Encounter.
Yeah, if they don't know you, they won't pick on you.
But
Hunter's got a big target.
Anytime I play games, it's like, how can we screw over Hunter? And
you have the best reaction.
Anyway, I think in a bubble I would love that game. Just like I would love Werewolf. I think that's a great thing. I think it's almost a social experiment, but I get to play 1 round of that game.
Yeah. Yep.
Even if there's 100 people, Hunter gets 1 round of Werewolf, and I get to watch for the rest of the time. All right.
But yeah, so good questions.
What's your number 8?
Good questions. My number 8, and this is where I was talking about some things that feel a little bit different for me.
That's a good one.
I split card drafting and action drafting. Number 8's action drafting. Because they feel different to me. Drafting cards could be anything from, like you said, a card for a battle or a bonus point or something. But action drafting is determining possibly an entire round of a game.
Right.
To me, this is more at the heart of a game. Like, for example, I put Twilight Imperium, obviously, because that's huge. What you choose to do is you get extra you get extra things you get to do because you were the one that chose it. There's reactions. People react to what you're doing because of it. And so I feel like that's completely different from card drafting, because card drafting could be very, very minor aspect to the game. And I feel like action drafting, like in particular with War of the Ring or TI 4 or 3, whatever, it's at the heart of the game. It has a bigger role to fill.
Yeah, so like Puerto Rico and San Juan and Race for the Galaxy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even, I don't know, is it Roll for the Galaxy action drafting?
Kind of is. It's not as strong as with Race, but yeah. And I thought about putting Race too, but Twilight Imperium, it just feels like that's part of the core thing that you're doing. That's like the game, right?
That's the game. It drives the entire game.
And I really enjoyed that. It gives you options. You have a little bit, it's almost sandbox-like, but at the same time, it's with restrictions, right? You're not getting to do everything. You get to choose it. You got to narrow your field a little bit, but it's helping you streamline whatever engine you're building up. And I wonder
if that. I wonder it's interesting that most of those games like that whoever picks it gets a more powerful version.
Yes.
I guess it's the Puerto Rico effect. I think Puerto Rico's
I think
spread out to
that,
all
right?
of those games,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think if is that Julia from
Juju?
is that Juju? That's not. Is that one from Japan? That's not the same person.
No,
right?
no.
I can't think if I'm trying to think if they mean if we're being sarcastic when they say Hunter's getting ganged up on. So sad. I think it's my sarcasm meter's pretty strong with that statement. All right, that's a good one. That's
the angel halo.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. I agree with that pick.
Yep.
All right, let's see what my number.
QE.
My number 7 is multi-use cards.
That's where you cheated. I don't remember seeing that on there.
Nope, it's not on there.
And that should be, actually. I agree.
Nope,
I like those.
That's not on there. So
That's
multi-use cards, I love multi-use cards. My favorite
good.
game of all time has multi-use card. But I picked Western Legends because I'm using War of the Ring for something later. Anyway, so multi-use cards is basically a card where you have a tough decision. You have a hand of cards, and every card can be used for different things. So it's like I can use it for combat. I can do a combat ability, but I can use it for an event, or I can use it to recruit troops, or I can use it for something else. The biggest example of this is Bruges, which has, I think, you can use the card for 7 different things. Seven different things.
Yeah, it's a ludicrous number.
So you can use it for the power. You can use it to get resources. You can use it to get rid of your plague thing. You can use it to build a building. You can. It's all sorts of different things.
Ooh, good one.
I like the tension of looking at a card and go, oh wow, that combat ability is really great. Oh,
Yeah.
but I need it for this other thing. Ooh, what do I do? Which do I use it for?
Yeah.
And I use Western Legends because Western Legends is even cooler because it's a hand of actual cards, like a 52 card deck of cards, and you can use it for an action. You can use it for payment. You can use it for, but the best thing is you can use it to play poker, an actual hand of poker. So it's like I got an ace. So ace is the most powerful card. It has an amazing action, but it's really powerful if you use it for their poker hand. So it's like, what do I do? Which do I use it for? Oh, I love multi-use cards.
Zeros put Trader 1889.
Who's in it? Let me ban him real quick. And put him in timeout.
Put him in the timeout.
All right, Western Legends, multi-use cards. I just love it. I just love that. I love games that have that tension, that turn tension. Like, what do I do in this situation?
Yep.
Where you have to make a tough decision. And when you have multi-use cards, every time you play a card, you're making a decision on how to use that card. So.
Yep.
There you go.
And I'm with Nathan, like he says, it sucks because your brain just hates those useless cards in your hand. And with something where it's multi-use, there's no way it's completely useless, right? Yeah.
But you can find one thing or the other
something redeemable,
that you
right?
can use for it. Yeah. All right, it's your 7.
All right, my number 7 is hand management, and one of the games that I could think of that represented that really well was Pandemic, because it is crucial that you do an efficient job of managing your hand in this game, because not only are you kind of doing a set collection kind of thing, but you have a very narrow limit of cards. I mean, you're only allowed to hold, 7 cards in your hand or something? But you need
I don't play cooperative games.
A lot of cards. You need 5 cards to be able to fight and cure diseases. But you also need to be collecting other stuff to trade with other people so you can still fight off the other diseases or travel or do, all these different things. So you've got a very small, pool to work with. Have all these cards you have to try to keep. So you have to be really strategic about when you use what, when you keep what do you discard, because discarding in that game can be brutal too. Ticket to Ride has hand management. A lot of games have, you need to manipulate what you have in your hand, right? I just really enjoy that aspect of the game. It seems like there's a lot of games.
Pandemic's a great example because not only is it your hand management, it's the
You're
whole
helping
it's the whole
everybody.
table's hand management, right? It's like, how do I get what you need out of my hand and get what I need into my hand?
Well, and that's the same as what's the card game The Crew.
Yeah.
Think about The Crew. It's the same kind of thing, right? Because you have to be very careful with your timing of when you play what, or it hoses everything up.
That's a good one. Not one of my faves, but it's a good one.
Do you include games such as San Juan as multi-use?
Yes,
absolutely.
They're either resources or you can pay them for their building that they are.
Yep.
Yeah, they're definitely multi-use card.
Absolutely.
All right.
Good question.
Number 6. Number 6 is contracts.
You do have an obsession with contracts.
I love
You're crazy
contracts
about
in games. Oh, love it. So,
that wasn't one either. I don't think, was it?
Yes, it was.
Was it? Oh, okay. I just don't like them like you do.
but viticulture wasn't listed as having contracts when it obviously has wine orders.
Wine orders,
which
that's
are
like
contracts.
part of the... It's called wine orders, sir.
So
Sorry.
contracts in games is basically I'm collecting all these resources to fulfill a list of things I need. Like it's like a list. I need 3 chickens and a sheep and a cow, and I collect those and then I turn them in and I get victory points or money or whatever. It's just it's a resource management that has a goal, right? It's like a goal for your resources. You're collecting these resources to fulfill a goal.
Yeah.
I put viticulture for the wine orders. There's Clans of County. There's just,
So many.
like half the Euro games.
Voyages of Marco Polo.
Voyages of Marco Polo. There's all these games. It's a fulfilling a list of things. You got like a shopping list. Here's your shopping list. Go out and get these, and you'll get something in exchange. Mm-hmm. Usually victory points or some kind of currency or something in exchange. A better currency, better resources, what have you.
Absolutely.
But the first game I thought of was viticulture because that's a good chunk of your victory points come from fulfilling those wine orders. So. But viticulture, I don't think was listed under contracts, which I thought was funny.
It is funny, and I agree with you. You are obsessed with contracts.
I love contracts.
That should be on your list because you will avoid doing other things in the game to fulfill contracts.
Oh, that's why I love Orleans trade so much. I love that expansion because I got contracts.
He's like, what? Yeah, that was hilarious.
I get to fulfill contracts. This is great. I don't know why. I guess I like having a goal. Because a lot of games you're just like collect these resources to turn them into these resources and get these resources. It's like whatever. This was like I got a little piece of paper on the table that says you need to get these things. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get those things. So I love contracts.
Woot woot.
What's your 6?
My number 6 probably will come as no surprise to people, and that is hidden roles.
It comes as a surprise to me.
Yeah, when you see my representative game, should that really surprise you?
You do love that game, but you don't like...
Just because I'm not good at it doesn't mean I don't like it. There's a very big difference between what I like and what I'm good at, because if it's something I'm not good at, why am I playing games half the time, okay? Just saying.
Yeah, Lords of Waterdeep, sorry. For contracts.
Yes.
I didn't think of that one.
Yeah, Ticket to Ride. Yes. Yeah. Hidden roles, though.
I want to listen to those.
So Battlestar Galactica was the other one I was thinking about putting on here. And I like the idea of it. I suck at most of them. I'm pretty good at deception. But it's just, you get a card and you find out you're a certain individual. And usually it's traitor games and stuff, right? You're a traitor or a bad guy or something else. Or it might be you have a specific role, like some of those, like the One Night Werewolves. You have some weird side job or something, right? There's all sorts of different games out there now. And you have to, like, usually the goal is to figure out who's doing what, or to get something done without someone finding out who you are, or something along those lines, right? And Saboteur, oh my gosh, I love that game.
I think you like the hidden role games that aren't in your face.
Yes,
you like
absolutely.
You like the long burn ones.
I like the long burns.
Where it's not like, where were you on the night of August 17th?
Oh yeah, because as you all know, I'm a horrible liar.
You like games more. Liar. You like more of the. You play a card and everybody's like, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
Not the.
Or like Saboteur, it's like, jig's up. I'm gonna just like.
So I don't
open about it.
I don't think you like the I guess the direct confrontation ones like Spyfall and Resistance.
And I like those, but I want to warm up first before I get thrown in. I don't like being the first time we play that game in the very first round, I'm the spy.
I would.
Yeah, I know you would. You throw a friggin' party. We have to watch you because you're vibrating over there. We're like, well, guess who's the spy? But no, I have like the opposite effect. So I really enjoy. Yeah, good cop, bad cop. Yeah. I'm seeing, Resistance, Murder on Cosmic Express. Like, all of those have great hidden role. There's so many good ones. So many good ones out there. And I think
but the two
fun.
you listed are long, kind of like long cons.
Mafia de Cuba.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There's a lot.
I'll accept it, even though...
Yeah, Deception's my most played game by a mile. I've played that almost 70 times. And maybe it's 70 now, actually.
All right, my number 5 is the most generic of generic, but if I didn't make it generic, it would be like 5 of my categories. And I didn't put it at the top of my list because it's generic. So, but My number 5 is dice rolling.
As opposed
Dice rolling.
to roll and move.
I love dice. I love
do.
dice.
You
I
do.
love dice combat. I love
do.
dice
do.
placement. I love dice. I love dice games. I can't put my finger on one specific type of dice.
Yeah.
Type of dice category I like. Maybe it's dice drafting. Maybe, but that would be under the drafting one.
Yeah.
But I like the dice. I like it. I like the excitement of, okay, I need to roll, a 7.
Yep.
And then they'll do this great thing for me. And you roll, and you're like, or yay! It's like it's like a little surprise. I love it. I think it's great. I like it in combat. I like it in just anything. Love me some dice, but like I said, I put it down lower on the list because I can't point to one type of dice thing that I like the best.
Right.
So maybe dice action selection with dice, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I have War of the Ring as my representation, because that's what you do in the War of the Ring. You roll your dice. The dice have different faces, and based on those faces, you choose your actions that you can take for that round.
So Hawk School says that dice rolling isn't about you loving the dice; it's if the dice love you. Fair point, which is why you'll never see it on my list.
Unless the dice are weighted incorrectly, they're statistically average.
Listen here. Okay, well, apparently I'm really average. Okay? Like below average.
I tell you, next time we play a dice game, I'm actually going to do tick marks. Bad roll, good roll. Bad roll, good roll. We'll see where it falls out. I think you focus too much on your bad rolls. See, I focused on...
Juju. Biblio says, not dice rolling. Shame on you.
It is in our variant. In our variant,
actually,
we actually we roll the dice, and that's the starting numbers for all.
We like to actually, yeah. We
do have dice rolling. That's a house rule we play to trick it up, because just having 3s and 4s is kind of boring.
Best games with animals is not a mechanism. No, Tommy.
Animals. Is that a mechanism?
No,
Farming.
that's an element of the game. That would be more like a genre. No, not a genre. A category. Yeah.
All right, there you go. Dice rolling, and probably if I had to pick, it would be action selection with dice. If I had to pick.
That's really very specific. I think I like your dice rolling, because that's more you. Because you're like tumbling dice or War of the Ring.
As long as
you're
like dice,
I like them both.
I just like dice.
So there you go. That's true. That's true. Average, not the average bear. That's true.
It's your turn.
Well, hey, it is. My number 5 is set collection. I don't know what it is about that. I love it. And there's a lot of games that use this in different ways. I put Jaipur up there because that's at the heart of that game. It's taking the set collection and when to take how much of a set, right? And that's what gets you all the victory coins, and I love those. Sheriff of Nottingham is all about set collection, because you're getting the most. If you get the most chickens, you are going to get the most points out of that category at the end of the game. And there's, so there's that. Oh gosh, there's so many. Sushi Go has set collection.
Set collection is pretty generic.
It's very generic.
It was actually on my short list.
But it's one of those generic mechanisms that I find is throughout a lot of games that I really, really like. Like Jaipur, that is still probably one of my favorite just go-to 2-player games. I still love that game. I would play that right now several times in a row, no problem. Yeah. And I just enjoy finding the sets and collecting them. It's usually also, there's something about set collection, it's usually in with like card drafting, which is my number 10. There's also, it's usually blended in with some other mechanisms that I really
exactly
like.
What I was about to say is set collection tends to be a piece of most games, and so that's why I didn't really think of it as.
Well, and
there's only maybe there's more than I think that are just completely set collection is the entire game.
That's not as much the case, I think, anymore. It seems like we have so many games that are much more hybrid, right?
Just like Reavers.
Of Midgard?
You have all this other stuff going on, but you're also collecting sets of things on the side.
And I love that mechanism. I like that it has that as a side mechanism in it. I enjoy it.
It's alright.
I enjoy it. You can met all you want, neutral.
It's alright.
I enjoy it.
My number 4 is the very generic. And like I said, parts of my list are very generic, and this is another one. And that is commodity speculation.
Good grief.
This is
Stock market?
Kind of. No, it's kind of. It's basically, it's kind of a all-encompassing, there's a thing that you can purchase or be involved in where the price goes up and down based on the actions of the game or the players.
Okay.
So, for example, in City of Big Shoulders, there's resources that the prices fluctuate as time goes by. There's also the value of the company. The biggest one, I already used it, Raccoon Tycoon.
I was about to ask you about Raccoon Tycoon.
Where the resources go up and down as people buy and sell them. There is Clans of Caledonia the same way. Resources go up and down as you buy and sell them. Basically, there's a thing that the players can influence the price of up or down, and the goal obviously is to buy low and sell high, right? So that includes, you can throw, if you want, stock market games into the same thing where it's basically buy low, sell high. It could be resources. It could be how much actions cost you to do. It could be drafting things, like the first person to draft pays a higher price than someone else. It could be anything where the price varies up and down. I like that. I like and a lot of these games, it's almost like a pressure luck element to it. It's like, okay, if I buy now, it's going to cost me 50.
Sell.
But if I wait, the prices might go down.
Right.
But then Rebecca goes and buys a bunch, and the price shoots up. And I wasn't expecting her to do that. So it's... I hope I explained it. It's that tension of when to sell, when to buy.
Power grid.
What markets to influence.
Power grid's got it too, right? With the resources.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
That's the same.
Yeah, good catch.
That's a good example. Yeah. It's the price of something's going to change based on the actions of the players. It's not just you roll a die and that's how much it's worth. The players influence that. The actions of the players influence what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The value of that. 18xx, the stocks, when people, the value of companies go up and down based on buying and selling and how the company performs, right? So you want to buy low and hope that the price goes up, and in the game you sell when they're valuable, right? So you almost can say economic games, but it's not all economic games or have commodity speculation.
Oh, Juju, you found the thing. Okay, Prospectus is that game where instead of a cube tower, you have a dice orb that determines stock prices. Ooh, never heard of that game.
What?
I like cube orb. Ooh,
So no one's confused by my
nope,
commodity
I think
speculation.
so. I don't see question marks or crossed eyes anywhere.
All right, what's your number 4?
You know what's funny? Paul's my twinsy today because I have the same number 4. It is variable player powers. I don't know why, but it is so cool that I have some special power that you don't have.
Right.
And I get to do something in a different way than you do. And there's so many different games. Imperial Settler, Scythe. I love just the way the whole engine and everything works in Scythe. It just made me think of that. But, I mean, there's so many different games behind us that have variable player powers that it almost... And it was funny because when I went on to BGG, this was one of the categories that didn't have that many games. And I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah,
they are missing
there's
a
bazillion
lot.
games.
So many games.
But BGG breaks out into subcategories is the problem.
Okay.
And it's hard. You're looking for variable player powers. There could be this type of variable player power or this type of variable player or that.
And I just like it as a generic thing because I just think it's cool that, okay, like you said, it could be something as easy as, like, say, viticulture. We start with something different. Or Terraforming Mars. You start with a different company.
Right.
But, okay... But instead, I get, Imperial Settlers. I'm going to get 2 apples and a brick, and you're going to get 2 pieces of gold instead on our turns. And we have different engines. We're going for different goals. Right. Sometimes it does set you to have different goals, right? I think it's so much fun because we're still going towards the end game, the same, goal. We still have the same goal, but we're going about it in completely different ways. And I think that's really cool. And sometimes it makes it tough to figure out maybe where you stand with each other, right? Because you might be in a different place versus me because of the way we're going about reaching the victory condition. Right. And I find that a lot of fun. I think it's really cool. So, there you have it. Variable player powers. We have
Neutral mentioned most cooperative games are that way. You have a power.
That's
you
true.
have a skill that I don't have.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like Pandemic is a great example of that again, right?
You're trying to find the synergy between those different powers.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I really like that. It's just, I just think there's something fun about that. And you're right, I think that's what makes cooperatives a lot of fun, too. If everyone is able to do the same thing, I don't tend to like those games as much as, say, like you said, Pandemic, where, okay, I am the helicopter person, so I can fly you somewhere.
Right.
Or we can coordinate, or I'm the medic, I have something unique, so
Right.
I'm special for doing a certain thing. That's awesome. I love that. Kind of almost can bring a role play element to it, depending on the game, too, right?
Yeah.
To a point because of your abilities and whatnot. I just love it. Love it.
Good one.
Love it.
My number 3.
Lorenzo.
My number 3 is worker placement.
This low.
Yes.
Interesting.
Worker placement's
wow.
number 3.
Interesting.
An example, I give you Champions of Midgard, which you have workers that you place.
Right.
Workers that you place on the board
Right.
to do your. Basically, worker placement's a subset of maybe action selection, maybe that you can block. I don't know. Being worker placement, I love worker placement games. I love all kinds of worker placement games. I like dice placement. I would even put dice placement. Anytime you're putting something on a board and saying, I can do this action, and you maybe can't, or maybe you have to pay more, or whatever. Usually in worker placement, there's some kind of blocking or preventing or penalizing someone for doing the action you selected, right?
Yep.
I love it. I think, again, it's that whole... it seems like a lot of my things revolve around that turn angst of... In the case of worker placements, is like, I really want to go to that spot. I hope no one takes that spot. Please, no one take that spot. And then Rebecca takes that spot, and you're like, I wanted to go there.
There's a lot of yelling in our worker placement games. Now that I think about it.
Because invariably, someone's going to go to the
Always.
spot you want to go to, right?
Yes.
And it's the whole being able to switch gears, right? So I really wanted to go to this spot, but if Rebecca takes it, I need a plan B, right? What's my plan B when she takes my spot, right? How am I going to change up my plan to react to what the other players are taking, right?
Yeah.
And it could be even if it's so beneficial for her to go to this spot, I may just take that spot, get a lesser benefit to prevent her from having a big benefit for going to that same spot.
How rude. How could you do such a thing?
It's kind of like hate drafting. It's just a different hate.
It's a different
hate placement.
Hate placement.
I coined the phrase hate placement. Hate placement.
You know, I don't think they have a term for that, and they really should, because
hate
it
placement.
is a thing.
Hate placement.
Yes, hate placement. I like it. Okay, spread
That's
the word.
my number 3.
That's
I'm pretty sure it was my number 1 last time, but
probably
what's better than worker placement? We shall find out.
So my number 3. Oh, I love this. And the games that I just have a fierce love for tile placement. My number 3 is tile placement. I don't know what it is about these games. We're talking like Azul and Alhambra, and even like Castles of Mad King Ludwig, right? You're placing things in a strategic way. Sometimes, like Castles of Burgundy, you get bonuses based off of what's touching, or you're completing sets based off of what you've placed, or like Gingerbread House, you're making a certain stack with things, and how you place them matters, because that's the kind of resources that you're going to get when you put them down. There's all these really great games that I have this thing about placing tiles. I love them. They usually have a puzzly aspect to them, and I think that's just something that I really, really enjoy.
Yeah, it's interesting because you start thinking about it. If you kind of broaden the idea of tile placement, there is so many games that use tile placement. Mm-hmm. Even TI4, TI3. At the start of the game, you're doing tile placement when you're building the board. If you assuming you don't do it with a preset board, the first part of the game is you're laying tiles.
Yeah.
Zaya, I'm thinking space games. There's lots of tile placement.
Right.
Even a lot of games, a lot of Uwe's games.
Yeah.
Use you basically take a card and you're putting the cards adjacent to each other, and based on how those cards are positioned, you get benefits, and you can almost consider placing the cards down a type of tile placement. Mm-hmm. There's lots of tile placement games.
There's a lot of them, and like you said, some of them it's usually like a little side element anymore. A lot of these games are such great hybrids that they include all these different mechanisms. But some of them that I really, really love, like Alhambra, it's like at the heart of it, and I really love those.
The infamous Juju. Is that Juju?
Do I include polyominoes?
Yes. Think about all the Tetris games.
Oh yeah.
You call Tetris games.
That's true.
All those are tile placement too.
Totally. I agree.
Crazy.
I think
so much tile placement.
Oh, and Tater is a lot. Oh, Champions? Yeah, Champions, yeah. Tater was loving on Champions, too.
What's that?
Loving Champions of Midgard, too. Yeah. Yep, I do. And then Polyomnos. Oh, yeah, totally. Raja.
Yes, you get those tiles
that's
that you play on your sideboard.
That's right, you do on that sideboard. That's true. I haven't played Cartographers.
No, I need to play that game. But I think it's a roll and write, isn't it? Is it not a roll and write? I think it's roll and write.
Yeah.
I'm almost boycotting roll and writes.
Oh my gosh, there's something wrong with him.
I don't want to write. All right, my number 2, no surprise. If you follow the channel, you know me.
Oh, I thought this was your number 1.
My number 2, Trader, Social Deduction / Hidden Rolls. I just throw the whole kit and caboodle in there.
I thought
and that's probably in my favorite. Actually, Hidden Rolls would be 2. So Trader is by far my favorite mechanism. Trader. Love it.
Okay.
Love Trader.
Okay.
Then the Social Deduction, Hidden Rolls, those are me.
Okay.
The Trader. I love being the Trader. Love being the Trader. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. It's like the spot.
Which is why I thought this would be number 1. I
have a mechanism that I just really, really like. And I don't ask me why.
Okay.
It just appeases my inner person, I guess.
Okay.
So anyway, Social Deduction, I love it. I guess I don't know why it's not number 1.
You just like hiding the secret knowledge.
I just love the tension. Probably I love more than anything is fooling people. That's probably my favorite part. It's when I get away with it, right? It's like putting your hand in the cookie jar. You take the cookie and you get to eat it, and no one catches you.
This is why his mother is a saint. I'm just gonna lay that out there.
I love fooling people. So you could probably throw some bluffing in here. You can just throw everything. Anytime you're lying or tricking people or whatever, just throw it into that number 2. Everything into that number 2 spot.
It is interesting. I agree. Somebody commented on the fact that you lumped all these together.
Otherwise, it would be my 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. Fair. So he cheated, made like 13.
Yes, I have like 13 things on my list. Because I love Trader. That's probably to be the number. If I had to order them, it's probably Trader, Hidden Rolls, and then the Social Deduction part. Yeah, I like tricking people. I don't like necessarily figuring out. I like tricking people more than I like
figuring out. The figuring out too, though, because
I do like
Mafia de Cuba in particular.
I do
man, you would be the
that's
Mafia
why
boss
it'd be 2, 3,
every
and
single
4.
time.
That's why it's 2, 3, 4, right?
Okay.
It'd probably be 2, 3, 4 if I broke these up.
Yeah.
I'm cheating. I guess call me a cheat. But you guys would give me crap if I said Hidden Roll, Social Deduction, and Trader all back to back to back. The comments would be exploding. What is this?
I'm surprised you didn't do it then just because of that, actually.
That's true. I probably could have.
He likes to watch the world burn.
I love this. But I don't know if I'd want every game to have this.
That'd be exhausting.
That's why my number 1 is my number 1.
Okay.
You can have that in almost every game. Every game on mechanism on my list could have this other mechanism included in all these things. So that's why it's number 1.
Okay.
And we'll get to that shortly.
Okay.
Rebecca's number 2.
My number 2 is...
Oh, you changed yours up too.
I did.
Trixie.
My number 2 is worker placement.
Look at this. New number 1s for both of us. I'm impressed.
Crazy. So worker placement, again, we already discussed what it is, but Viticulture, Stone Age, Anachrony, there's all these games where you go determines what you get to do, and if you're blocking someone, or if you went there first, like you said, you get a little something extra,
right.
Or there's just something, a good chunk of the games that I like and or love have this as at least an element in it. It would be completely remiss for me to not put worker placement on this. And I just enjoy it too much. I mean, one of those games that's top-notch all the time for me is Viticulture. And what do you do in that? You're placing workers. I mean, that's the game right there. Where you go with that determines what you're doing. And I just love it. There's just something fun about making that choice. And depending on the game, you're the only one that gets to do that, right? You blocked it for now. So you blocked out the special little action just for you. You get to do something specific. Hopefully it's helping you move forward. And you move on. And we've talked about a lot of the games. So there's just so many games that have this as an element to it now.
Yeah, it's almost
just like, I love it.
Yeah, but it needs to be not shoehorned in, right? It needs
No,
to be,
it needs to have
be
a purpose.
It needs to have a reason why you're doing it.
If it's just shoehorned in, I don't like that game.
Right.
But I mean, if it's got purpose, then absolutely, I love this. So.
All right. So what's my number one? I know what your number one is.
Well, I was gonna say, like, how did you word that neutral? It was so great. Stabby Hunter, I think is what he called you.
Attacky?
Oh yeah, attacky. Is attacky a mechanism?
No.
Oh, Tommy thought it was the screw over Tommy mechanism.
Nope.
I'm.
Look, it's the longest number one in history.
Oh, of course you like that. You like it more than me.
Upgradable
Yes.
skills and powers, variable player powers.
So would this include tech tree?
No.
Okay.
So this is variable
curious.
player powers. I'm narrowing it down. I love variable player powers. That's my number one, really. But the thing I like most
is the skills. Okay.
is that you become more diverse as the game goes on.
Okay.
So a lot of games is, here's your power. You're going to use this the whole game. Here's your power. I love games like that. I think they're great.
Yeah.
I like that I differentiate myself more and more as the game goes by.
Okay.
So, example, in Scythe,
Yeah.
you have these little cubes that on your player board that you upgrade your skills and become more and more powerful and tricked up as the game goes by. Like, I may really focus in. I become really good at recruiting.
Yeah.
I can recruit really, really well.
Yeah.
And so I upgrade all my recruiting as the game goes by. And now I'm like cranking out,
Stuff like
mechs,
crazy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's another example is Blood Rage. In Blood Rage, everyone starts exactly the same.
Yeah.
You're exactly the same. Everyone's the same, but you're grafting monsters, you're grafting clan powers, you're making your warriors different. And at the end of the game, you look down at your clan. And my clan is completely different from what yours started as.
Yeah.
I may have these really powerful monsters, but you may have like these cool warrior abilities that I don't have, right? So we're differentiating ourselves as time goes by. Some other ones I'm thinking of, for recent, if anyone's played Maracaibo, you're upgrading powers as the game goes by. You're taking cubes off your board and putting them out into the main off your player board into your main board, and as you take those cubes off, it's giving you a power that someone might not have yet. I mean, everyone can get the same powers, same choices of powers,
Yeah, just
but
you're leveling up on it.
I may go about it different. Like I may focus in on being able to move my ship better or something, and you're focusing in on doing something else.
Yeah.
So it's variable player powers, but on top of that is it grows as the game goes by, and that's what I like in games.
That's true. You like to see growth and results.
Right.
You like something on
I just like at the end of the game. I don't just have a card that I played the whole game. I mean, like I said, I do love one of my favorite things. Like in Marco Polo, everyone starts out with a crazy superpower, but we're not upgrading or changing or becoming different as the game goes by.
No, you're different.
You're
That's
different
it.
from the start to the finish. I have this one power that you don't have.
Yep.
Yep. That is mine. What I write: upgradable skills and powers.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Upgradable skills and powers.
Very good.
And Rebecca's number one, as if no one hasn't figured it out yet, is deck building.
Yes. And BGG has the category as deck, bag, and pool building. And they all give me the same feel, so I'm like the same feel, I should say. So I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that. Right. I put Dominion up there because, well, that's what started it all, folks, right there. My deck builder. I love, and I like playing, like, Keyforge has its own deck built. That's cool. And I like playing that. But there's something about, like, Dominion or Orleans or something like that where you're taking something and you're like, I'm going to build an engine up or something that gets me where I need to go.
Right. And
I'm in charge of how I do that. I get to pick and choose. And I love Dominion in particular for this because, you can use that app. We combine all our Dominions together. So there's like, you pick and choose what cards. So there's only a pool of 10 different cards that you can choose from.
Right.
Okay. But we're picking those and they could be from all the different games. So the possibilities are endless and you're going to have to puzzle out how to make the best combos with that every single time. It's something different every time. I really love building that. I love that. I like the bag building. What's the name of, besides Orleans, the
Altiplano.
Altiplano. I like, you got to build up, but that one, again, you draw a little bit differently. It adds a different feel to the game. I don't know what it is about that. I love deck builders. Absolutely. Love deck builders.
Tommy came up with
Mystic Veil.
Made a point that our number ones are very similar, but in different ways. Yours, you start out with a set of 8 crappy cards.
That's true. I do.
And towards the end of the game, you're gonna.
I want something.
You're gonna have a deck completely different from mine, right?
True.
My deck
Mine's
is
unique.
not gonna be the same as your deck. So that's a similar thing. Right?
It is similar, and I've always loved cards. I think that's part of it too. In particular, I really love cards.
Well, it's kind of almost a logic. It's like
a
a
logic
logic
puzzle,
puzzle, and it's like a efficiency puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's because a lot of deck builders you can get rid of your crappy cards as time goes by, but you got to decide when do I get rid of those. Right? There's a lot of decisions that go around deck building games.
Oh yeah, I love them. I don't know. I could play them over and over. Yeah, Clank. Oh my gosh.
Love the one we just played recently. It's not a new game. That
Which one?
Underdark game. What's it called?
Yes. Where is that? I think it's over here, actually, isn't it?
Tyrants of the Underdark.
Tyrants of the Underdark. That was good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
Because that one uses the culling as a way to get points, right?
Yeah,
a lot of
that
games
was
when
really
you cull
clever.
when you cull cards, you may you may lose
yeah.
point. You may lose potential points at the end of the game for those cards to get better cards. In
Yeah.
Underdark, if you cull a card, it actually becomes more powerful and gives you more points at
Mm-hmm.
the end. It's out of your deck, but it gives you more points at the end of the game
Yeah.
if you culled it out of your deck.
Well, and like, who was Dark Tater you were talking about too? You like it as an element, and that's one thing I really like too.
That's
now.
how I
that's
like,
a plus for
that's
me
how I
too.
like,
Now
that's how I like
is
it.
because they've become so the hybridization, I guess, of some of these board games. Now they've made them so cool where that's an element of it now. It doesn't have to be the whole game itself. I just put Dominion because it is the definitive like way to deck build, right? It's the granddaddy. But so many good games have deck building somewhere in it, some element of it. And that just makes the game that much cooler for me because that's something I just really love to do.
I almost
love that.
I almost don't want to play straight deck builders anymore. I want to manipulate boards. I want to move guys around. I want to do something else. I want this to be like the motor to the game, right? This is the motor that drives what's going on in the game, right?
I totally get that. But I am perfectly content sitting with my little cards and like dealing out my 5, doing my thing. Okay, it's your turn. I'm just as happy doing that.
And everyone knows what my favorite deck building game is.
What is that?
Crappy Cows.
Uh-huh. Which is funny because that game, you don't think of it, I don't know. Because they call it like set collection too in there, which blew my mind.
It's a straight deck building game.
It is. It's a deck builder. It really is. You're building up a variety of cows. You don't want sets.
And you literally shuffle up and you're drawing cards.
Yeah,
and you're culling cards out of your deck.
So
you're adding cards into your deck.
Pool building. Let's see. Do we have a pool building game? I'm trying to think of a good example for a pool building game for you.
I don't know.
I'm pulling a blank right now, but they're there. They're out there. I can't think of, and I'm sure there's a popular one. Oh my gosh. My brain just Hunter's doing a search. He'll save the day.
I'm about to stream someone else's
So it's this
thing.
thing right there.
Let's see if we can see what's
How meta.
Let's see what BGG calls pool building.
They have it lumped together with DAG. I'm combining my words.
Oh, they
Deck,
do?
Bag.
It's not-
Yeah, it's called deck, bag, and pool building.
Are you serious?
Yes, that's why I put it that way.
So what would be a pool?
Right there.
What would be a pool
Right.
building?
Where'd you have it? That's what I'm trying to remember. I think we even have one, but for the life of me, I can't remember what.
Let's see what's. They're just gonna pick.
You're gonna pick.
It's just gonna be deck builders.
Maybe, but you'll be able to see if it's a pool builder.
Gloomhaven's is deck building.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got
Deck building, dice, deck building. What about Too Many Bones?
Too Many Bones. I'm trying to remember. It's
I
been
don't
so
know
long
about
since
that
we
one.
played that.
Quacks is a bag building.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What would differentiate a pool building from a
deck builder?
a deck or a bag building game?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, I don't know what the difference is.
That's a good question.
Does it have? Let's go back.
They have a definition
Yeah.
of pool building.
Well, you'd have to find. You'd have to click on a game and find one that says pool building.
Pool
It just says all of them. Let's see if it says under the definition.
Okay, I'm curious.
It doesn't tell you.
No, it doesn't. That's terrible. See, and what's funny to me is, okay, pool building to me is you have a pool of things that I don't know. I guess it's not necessarily cards?
Maybe Tommy makes a point. Maybe that's what some people call bag building. They call it pool building.
Yeah, that could be because it's building up a group of things that you're going to be getting from, right? It's a pool of options.
Yeah, I mean you're not.
That's a good.
You're not pulling them like in a deck building game. You're drawing the cards in sequence, right? They're going
Dice Masters.
The sequence is already set.
With Dice Masters.
Same way. It's just bag building. It's the same kind of thing. I think Tommy's right. The differentiation is that when you draw from a regular deck building game, you're not taking the deck and go, okay, I'll take this card out of the middle.
Yeah.
I'll take this card towards the back. You're drawing them, you shuffle them, and you're drawing them in a sequence.
Yeah.
One after the other. Whereas a pool building, you're reaching in and you have an option of getting any of those items.
Right.
Not just the one that happens to be at the top of your deck. It's the
Yeah.
same sort of randomization.
It really is.
But I could see where someone could see the difference. Is you're gonna draw all these in order, and you don't have an option to pull anywhere within the deck. You always pull from the top. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be.
Well, they say 12 to 1, or what, 24?
6 to 1, half a dozen together.
That's that, whatever that saying is.
Tomatoes. Yeah, that's a good question though, because
that's a good one. Face down chits, and you're pulling one out of those.
Yeah.
But are you adding chits to pull from? You'd have to be adding chits.
In that case.
I got nothing.
Yeah,
that's way too long of a discussion about pool building.
At some point, I want to look into that more though, because honestly, I know we have.
You know what we should do? We should create a deck builder that's about building a pool.
Tommy already beat you to that. He called it pool building, the pool building game.
Yeah, that's what they. I didn't see that. I would say smart like minds think alike, but...
Oh dear, here we go. Says build a pool of cards or dice where all of them have a resource which allows other items to be purchased from a set of items not in the pool. Okay.
What?
Okay.
That sounds. It's
like a subset.
Sounds too complicated for me.
That could... Okay, we have a game like that.
So I'm going to quickly go through my honorable mentions. I'm going to fly through them. I'm not even going to talk about them. I'm just going to throw them out at you.
I like it.
Here we go.
Okay.
Bluffing.
Of course.
Negotiation.
Of course.
Tech trees.
Of course. Hey, wait, was that on there?
Yeah, tech tracks.
I missed that one.
/tracks.
Okay, it wouldn't quite make my 10. It'd be my 11.
Area majority / area influence.
Of course you
Exploration.
Okay.
Asymmetrical powers was the same as variable player powers.
I think so, yeah.
Investment stock holding. I lumped that into my commodity thing.
Did.
And then the two that I saw from people talking, achievements and milestones.
Oh, yeah, you love those.
And I would lump it all together, hidden goals.
Hidden goals. Ooh, okay.
Like I have
okay.
Like for example, Champions of Midgard has those cards that you draft that you say if you have the most of this thing, you get 5 points or 3 points. Mm-hmm. And you keep those face down, and at the end of the game you go, ooh, look, I get all these extra points. Gotcha. A lot of games hand out like 2 or 3 of those, like Wingspan. You get hidden goals in Wingspan. You get some random ones at the start that you pick from.
Yep.
And then through the game, there's some birds that let you draw more hidden goals, right?
It's true. That's good.
So I like this.
That's good. Yeah, my hidden. Man, my brain is turned off.
List?
My hidden list. No, my honorable mentions. One of them I totally forgot about, and I didn't write it on here because I knew it wasn't going to be a top 10, but you guys mentioned Legacy.
Yeah, Legacy
I think anymore, especially after playing Clank Legacy.
The ripping of the card mechanism.
That's amazing to me. I also had included co-op and chaining. I like when things chain. Like you set something off and then you keep building up on it. So then now this card does this and this, like Deus.
Yeah.
Or this and this, and now it does all 3 of these
There's
things.
a handful of games that
I enjoy that. I like co-op. I like deduction. And deck construction. I don't like it as much as I used to. I used to love that. I used to play a whole mess of CCGs and stuff. Not so much anymore because, I don't know. I guess I just don't have the time to devote to that sort of thing. But I've always enjoyed that.
A kid, she mentioned...
contracts.
Tableau building.
I do love tableau building too. Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Meh. I'm meh about that.
I do like that one. I like tile... Yeah, the tableau building.
Like in Res Arcana?
Yeah. Man.
You could even say
I like that a
Terraforming Mars, and there's lots of them.
That's really true. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Rebecca engine
You
building.
could even
I
say
do like engine
Wingspan.
building.
It's engine building. It's also tableau building.
Yeah, I love engine building too.
Tableau building and engine building kind of go hand in hand to a certain extent.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Truth. Those are
That's
good.
probably engine building wasn't on your list. Is it not a BGG? Is it not a BGG category?
I don't remember seeing it. If it
I bet
was
it's.
on there,
I bet it's not a category.
it might not be, and I felt like it was very broad.
Because it's very generic. Almost every Euro game has some.
I
form
wouldn't
of
be
engine
surprised
building,
if they
right?
considered it a type of game or something instead of a mechanism.
It is a mechanism, but it's.
I agree.
It's inherent in a lot of other mechanisms, right?
That's
like
why I bet
tableau
they
building
don't.
and tile placement could all
Yeah,
be
you basically have to, right?
Engine building can be all those things, right?
Yeah, I felt like it was too broad, so I didn't put it on there, and I probably should have, because I love it, but I think it's also inside a lot of the stuff that I have.
Yeah, it's very generic. I mean, that's anything where you're becoming more efficient as the game goes by, right? And that's almost every Euro game has engine building. Absolutely. And that. Yeah, it doesn't even list it as a mechanism.
Yeah, I thought it was too broad.
Mechanic.
Oh, jeez.
Well, that's it. There's our top 10
and you guys
board game mechanisms.
Yeah, it was cool. And you guys in the chat had some great games mentioned,
Speaking of chat,
too.
I should probably go back to the chat. Huh?
Yeah, I was going to say, so if you're watching this, make sure you're watching the chat stuff, too, because they mentioned a lot of great games that are good examples for these types of games.
Customized dice?
You know, we only have, Dice Forge.
No, that means
or you mean just
dice that aren't
like
a regular D6.
Oh, yeah,
that's part of my dice rolling. It's included. We'll just wedge that right in.
I like it, but I wouldn't say that that's something that I would.
I do like cool dice, like the War of the Ring dice are really cool.
Oh my gosh, they're gorgeous. I mean, they're cool, but I'm not saying that that's what makes me love those. I don't know. I just don't. It doesn't. It didn't make my top 10. I'll put it that way. Banhammering. Who are we banhammering?
Oh, if there's a tie score, share the victory.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably my least favorite mechanism. I think you just
sharing. He doesn't like.
I think you may have hit on my least favorite mechanism in board games, because that mechanism just makes me angry. Exit games. That's second from the bottom. What is that? Is that a category of games? It's more of a category, right, than a mechanism.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Still funny.
That's it. Next Tuesday, 1 week from today, is our variety show.
What?
I will say this.
Will you?
You need to tune in.
Why?
I'm not very good. What does contentious mean?
What do you mean contentious? There's a lot of room for fighting, room for argument, cause for disagreement. Why are we going to be fighing?
Not us. Some people in our chat right now. They're gonna be. I'm gonna have some words.
Oh, I can't wait. What? What are you talking about?
Let's just say. I'll say this. This will be a little teaser for next week. If you guys watch the channel, you know that I mentioned Rebecca's Twilight Imperium 4 Betrayal was epic, heart-wrenching, and made me a little sad.
No, he was proud.
That is no longer...
What?
Number 1 on the list.
Wow. Yeah, Zeros, you might feel a little...
So that's a little teaser for next week. Next week's our variety show. We're going to
this is awesome.
Probably run the gambit. Because, again, we don't have a lot of games we played. For whatever reason, we haven't been playing a lot of games lately. So we're probably going to go through the whole random reviews and back of the box and top fives and probably do a playthrough of some kind.
Do you have a technical difficulties button ready for this?
I do have a chat ban.
Do you? Oh, okay.
So we're probably going to run the full gambit of all the stuff we do, because we're going to have lots of time on our hands, because we won't have a lot of games to talk about. Because, like I said, we haven't played very many games, and they're not really... We only played one new game.
Yeah, we haven't even bought new games.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I mean, has anybody?
Yeah, the new game purchases have slowed way down. So, tune in next week and learn the story behind the story.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't wait to hear this. I lived it. You all take care, and we'll see you soon. Have fun playing games. Bye.